Send it. What's happening, everybody? We are here with Brian Kohn, Ryan Coakley, and we are on the Hustle and Grind podcast.
Man, I mean, Brian House is going to be out of a job if you keep that up. Come on now. Oh, jeez.
Jeez. That was good. And you're keeping it going.
There we
go.
We're going to keep it going no matter what happens.
That's right.
So, guys, full disclosure, we are here on the Hustle and Grind podcast with Brian Kohn from B Kohn Knives and Ryan Coakley from Ryan Chadbourne Knife Works. And, of course, I'm Noah from Annie at River Forge. I'm not Brian House. But here's the thing. We're here for a podcast, and this podcast is for makers, do-it-yourselfers, lovers of knives, lovers of crafts of all kinds. And we've had some technical difficulties today, full disclosure. And so we've already had a bit of a discussion, and we're back into it now, though, and we're more energized than ever, and we are here to rock this thing. So, B Kohn, how are you, man?
Dude, I am great. It's really great to be back into the Hustle and Grind podcast. You know, I love Jason. He's a great guy. It's really cool that he started this whole thing, but I'm really excited to see where you guys take this thing next because, I mean, I feel like your trajectory is just up from here. I mean, how in the hell am I going to be the next guy after Jason freaking Knight?
Well, little do you know, this whole podcast we're going to talk about Hollow Earth theory.
Oh,
which will top
okay.
the alien talk that we had with Jason Knight.
That's
and
true.
Maybe
you thought interdimensional beings was good. It's going to get even better.
Okay, all right. I'll let you guys talk about that because I don't know a damn thing about
it.
See, that's the great thing is you don't even have to. You can just pretend like you do and just make stuff up, and it'll sound good.
See, what it is I'm actually on the inside. I know all about it. I just want you to believe that I don't. See, that's it.
See, I knew it. I knew that
there
about you.
There it is.
You're hiding something.
He's a
that
reptilian.
Beautiful bald head.
Yeah, he's a reptilian in a hairless human suit.
Yo, okay, all right. Step too far. Come on now.
Okay, so here we go. While we're talking about Sharp Santa over here, so I had this weird idea last week or the week before, and back when we were still with Jason, we were talking about, or at least Ryan and I we were making Jason very uncomfortable when we were talking about who the most handsome man in knife making is.
Oh,
and
boy.
of course, Brian House was among the top of them that we're talking about. Toby Mural was up there, of course, as well. But here's what came to my sick and twisted mind was, what if we came up with a Men of Knife Making calendar? And we did some.
I thought of that the other day.
Did you really? It's like our minds are connected, man.
But not like a Men of Knife Making. I thought we should do a Hustle and Grind guest calendar.
Ooh.
So like we pick a guest from January, February, all the way up through the previous year and put them in a calendar.
Were you thinking of doing sexy pictures?
No.
Because I was totally thinking about doing sexy pictures because, like, I'm talking like we need to get like some female people to be buying these calendars. And I mean, to be fair, I'm going to put it on my wall too. But can you imagine a picture of, Brian House, like maybe it was the reel that he posted the other day of him sensuously laying on his new welding table. Maybe it was that put it into my brain. But yeah. But the best thing that comes to my mind is that who are we going to have for December? Oh, we're going to have Sharp Santa.
There it is.
We're going to have Sharp Santa as December for Men of Knife Making. And, I mean, you can wear some suspenders. You can wear a Sharp Santa hat. Whatever it is, man. I think it's...
How about the Sharp Santa hat and nothing else? There it is.
That's a little too far, bud. Wow, you just put that way over the top right away.
Oh, come on. I thought that was that kind of show here. What's going on?
I was thinking like a banana hammock like a red floofy banana hammock like Santa
Oh
would wear.
goodness!
Well, you got to think.
Nobody wants to see that.
Santa's
Not
got his
even
bag,
Emily.
but Santa also has his pants. I think that's important.
But Santa also has his pants.
That's true.
Oh goodness! Oh boy!
That's
I
true.
mean, this is an idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's definitely an idea.
This
It
is a
is
safe
that.
place.
Okay, we can make it happen. We can make it happen. Oh goodness. That's going to be a
Oh,
weird
man.
conversation I'm going to have with Kyle. Hey Kyle, I really need a really good photo. What's it going to be of? Me in a Santa hat and a banana hammock.
Mm.
Sorry man. I don't think we're going to have that happen. Come on now.
I think it could be great, but okay, fine. Hey,
It's all right.
listeners, if you want to see Sharp Santa standing, leaning on his anvil with his hat, maybe some pants, but no shirt. I mean, maybe just some suspenders. If you
Your
want to
boy's
see
not
that
doing
on your
that.
December calendar, you let us know. If the people want it, I think we could convince Sharp Santa to do this.
Good luck.
Depends on how much money the calendar makes, I guess.
Well, see,
where that money's going.
That's the best part. Is I was thinking we could do this for a good cause. I mean, I don't know what good cause, but I'm thinking there's a good cause out there that could convince some of the beautiful men of knife making to put it on display.
How are we going to get 12 masculine dudes to do boudoir shoots in a funny way?
Let's take this through all the way to the end. So we've got Sharp Santa on December. Who's January?
I don't know.
See, that's the thing.
I didn't actually
come up with them.
This was just a random idea that I had. I didn't actually think about it.
Yo, pickle cutters could be like snowboarding down the side of a mountain.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You got to have
Like
that in a snow time.
Like a short tattooed little Sasquatch on a snowboard.
With a hammer in one hand and tongs in the other.
There it is. Dude, I'm starting to really like this idea. We should make this happen.
We can make it happen. I mean, you can buy calendars and sell them. I mean, there's a good cause out there that we can think of that we could convince 12 men to put their bodies on display and make this thing a reality.
I'm starting to cook up some ideas. Like what if it was like, getting somebody to Blade Show that wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Or buying equipment.
See, those are fine goals. I was thinking about like starving children in Tahiti or something like that. But, I mean, your guys' idea is great too.
Okay, I guess that is confirmed. I am an asshole, I guess.
Who knew that Sharp Santa was secretly an asshole?
Well,
he's like, all those kids are on the naughty list.
Anyways, so ridiculousness aside, so we were talking about Brian's his Work For It 2 podcast and the interviews that he's done, and then we were kind of discussing sort of how his interviewing style developed really quickly, and I was complimenting him on that and letting him know that the way that my brain works is I'm the kind of guy that will wait for if I'm watching a TV show, I wait for the whole season to come out, and then I watch the whole season back to back binge mode, And so I kind of did that with Brian's new podcast where he's doing all these interviews. And what that allowed me to do was I saved up, I think 4 or 5 episodes, and I just binged listened to all of them in one day while I was at work. But what that allowed me to do was really to kind of get and listen to and hear the development in Brian's interview style and just how far he came in such a short, period of time. And I was really complimenting him on that and asking him kind of what his thoughts were as far as how he developed that or whether he had an interviewing background. Brian, talk a little bit about how you developed your interview style and where it came from.
I really appreciate all of those kind words. It definitely has been a lot of hard work trying to make, because a big thing with interviews, you don't want it to be question, answer, because that gets boring and that gets choppy and it doesn't lead towards any like new stories that you would have never heard otherwise. So I guess the real big thing is, you start off with a nice big softball, just throw it on up there so they can hit it right out of the park. get comfortable, get talking, and just kind of smoothly transition into a conversation, but have a solid, list of things that you want to talk about so that, there's never an issue of, okay, what are we going to talk about next? What are we, nobody wants that dead time in there. So, there's a lot of research that goes into, the pregame of these interviews. And then, it's been nice to interview a lot of people that I already know a lot about, because, I always have, a back catalog of, you know, there's going to be this thing that you're super passionate about. Why don't we talk about that? And then they will talk about that for a long time. It's, you know, I don't know. And then the other big thing is, I listen to all of Full Blast podcast. I've been an avid listener of that for a long time. And then I was able to talk to Jeff Fader a lot about, interviewing and what I should think about and what type of, if I go into this, it's not just like a half-ass type of a thing. And I got a lot of pointers from him. Biggest one is, don't ever turn the conversation back on yourself. And don't get me wrong, I'm I do that every once in a while, and I kind of have to, stomp on my foot to keep myself from, oh, well, that's really cool. Well, I used to do this kind of a thing,
Well, that's
the whole
kind of hard.
idea of, right.
That's kind of hard. Somebody says something, it reminds you of how it relates to you. Like
Right.
It's not a natural thing for somebody who someone else is always the main character in their own story. So it's difficult for you to spend that time and focus entirely on someone else. And I think you do an excellent job of it.
Thank you. And I am really cognizant now. I mean, it's a little bit more choppy in the first couple of interviews, but I'm really cognizant now about every single time that the conversation tries to fade back towards me, you have to turn that thing around, because you're interviewing the person that is joining you on the show. That's what you're trying to talk about. And it's really, the focus should be on them, not on yourself. I don't know.
Yeah. You do really well at being a selfless interviewer and keeping the conversation directed towards them.
Yeah.
You've done a really good job at figuring that out. And a lot of interviewers, even famous interviewers, are really bad at that. A lot of them will be like, oh, you grew up in Michigan? I knew a guy from Michigan once too, blah, 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 blah. His name was Ted. You know what I mean? And like, you do a very, very good job with that show. And I could see that show really growing into something like lucrative and big,
It's definitely, it's really fun. I always walk away from those podcasts super energized. I love those. The interviews are always a lot of fun. I mean, the Work For It podcast, it's always fun. And what's really fun about it is, like, you sit down, you talk to the three amigos, and you get through it. And then we sometimes will sit and continue to talk for another 15, 20 minutes. And it's like, okay, we got to get back to work. What the hell are we still doing here? It's been so long, it's very nice for sure. It's a lot of fun.
That happened.
Go ahead, man.
Go ahead. No, that happened with Jason Knight. After we stopped recording, the three of us sat here and talked about interdimensional aliens for about 40 minutes.
Yo.
And it was,
I kind of want to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
Oh my gosh, it was almost better than the rest of the interview and everything that we had with him. It was fantastic. it was great. So
I was
back
tempted
to what
to hit record.
Oh, dude, I kind of wish you had. But anyways, so back to you, Brian. With the way that almost seems to come naturally to you, would you consider yourself to be more of like a naturally selfless person?
Oh, come on now. Way to stroke my ego with that question. Come on.
No. There's no stroking here. There's nobody stroking anything. This is
until I get on camera for the Sharp Santa picture. Okay, I get you.
Right, exactly. That's when it changes. No. I mean, because I feel like the three of us are people who can be very self-reflective, and we're to that. I mean, we're decently close in age. We're to the point where we can be self-reflective and self-aware about our faults and our strengths. So I feel like objectively I feel like you have an idea of, because some people are people pleasers and other people are narcissists. And I feel like you probably have an idea of how that works into your personality and everything. And, even in the way that you interact in your personal relationships, whether it's your fiance now, which congratulations, by the way, we can talk about that
Thank you.
later.
Thank you.
So anyways, I'm just curious, have you naturally been sort of a selfless person in your life where you're trying to, go out of your way to help others? Or, you know, how do you think that affects the way that you do interviews is my question.
So I've always been kind of the person to always, for instance, in college, I had a little truck. I had a 85 S10. And every single time anyone ever needed to get moved, I would be the first person to say, "Oh, hey, when are you moving the big things? I can roll by real quick and help you load it in, drive it across, and save you the day of, or that $20 a day of, renting a van or whatever." I've always, I mean, it's just kind of like my parents kind of raised me to, hold the door. If you see someone walking up to a door, open it up and hold it for them. It's just kind of always been a thing. I don't know. It doesn't seem to happen. It doesn't seem to be some things that people really value nowadays, but I don't know. I always kind of pride myself in like taking the extra step out of the way to help somebody if I can. But I also hate talking about myself like this. So
which is
I don't
proof.
know.
It's proof that you are a selfless individual.
Ugh, I guess. Whatever.
No, that's a really great thing, and
Oh,
acknowledging that about yourself helps you, grow as a person as well. Knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and everything, it's a part of growing in life and figuring out your place. So, but my point was is that it does come across that way in your interviews. You do have that selfless interaction where you are focused on the person, and it does come naturally, which is why your interviews are good. And that's why they're enjoyable to listen to, is because you can tell that interaction is genuine. If somebody's, forcibly holding themselves back, you're going to be able to tell when you're listening to the way that they're talking, Like right now, I'm very self-involved. So right now I'm talking about you and it seems forced. I'm sure everyone can tell.
oh no, man. I think it just, as you start doing interviews, you kind of fall into a rhythm, and you just, I mean, you just have to go into it genuinely interested in what the person has to say and try to highlight them, because I mean, they don't have to be coming to the show and spending, an hour and a half to get everything set up, and then, once everything's over, like, it's a solid commitment for people to come into the interviews and actually spend their time interviewing. Like, I want to show them in the best light possible. And the best light possible is to let them talk, let them tell stories, let them go on big, long tirades about things they did in their past. And that's what the people want to hear anyway. So it's just kind of a win win. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I've
That's
noticed
awesome, man.
too that specifically it's noticeable on your show that the longer you allow them to talk, the less they remember they're being recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it gets much more natural and fluid as the conversation progresses, and that's a really awesome quality. Another awesome quality you have is your networking ability. You
Man.
have, like, not even, no joke, man, like you have a better networking ability than almost any maker I interact with on the internet. Um,
I
it's just
mean,
like, yeah, it's I can't explain it. It's just one of those things that it's true. It's I
I
mean,
think I've just gotten incredibly lucky. It's been a lot of being in the right place at the right time. And, some of that is, if you're always there, if you're always in the place, you're going to be there at the right time. Getting into the Work For It podcast, the way that started was I did a live stream and Brian House jumped on, and it was like my first interaction with Brian House, and I lost my shit. I was so goddamn oh, excuse me. I know that we're trying to keep the cursing a little bit further down. I was just so excited that Brian House, I mean, notice me, senpai. Like, it was Brian freaking House. And it was just like, oh my God. And then shortly after, I started talking to him all the time. And shortly after that, he said, "Hey, we are doing little 10-minute interviews on the podcast. Do you want to jump on for a quick interview?" And I set up, I went and bought a small microphone to try to make it happen. And I made sure the Wi-Fi was good. I had headphones, and I like tried to put in as much as I could to make that 10 minutes in the right place. as best as possible. And then shortly after that, they're like, hey, we need a third person. Hey, Brian, do you want to jump on for an episode? And then again, I put in the best of my abilities to try to make it happen. And there it happened. It's just, I don't know how it's happened or why it's happened, but it just, I don't know. It's just worked out, I guess. I've been incredibly lucky. I don't know what to say.
It's awesome.
Well, we're lucky to have you here, man. So
yeah,
I mean, it works both ways, and I think a lot of that does have to do with the way that you come across, because you do come across as that selfless individual who people want to be around. People want to be around people who make them feel good, and you make a lot of people feel good about themselves, whether it's being encouraging or whether it's just the I don't know. I don't want to call it goofy, but your goofiness on the podcast, and I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean that
right
in a bad way. But you add something to that podcast that's very valuable, and people are drawn to that. So, anyways, so speaking of people going on and talking, so the other day on the podcast, on your podcast, you told a story of how you proposed to your then girlfriend, now fiance, and Benjamin Butler has, I don't want to say no filter, but I'm going to say no filter. The man says things that come to his mind, and I love Ben Butler, of course.
Yes.
But you told Ben Butler on air to shut up. There might have been an expletive even in there. I don't remember, but I laughed out loud when I was at work, and I think my coworkers might have thought I was a little crazy because I do that on occasion. But but how was trying to tell a serious story over Ben Butler on the podcast? How did that go?
Again, we all love Ben Butler. The man can tell a story. There's something about the way that he speaks and how one story can seamlessly lead into another, which will lead into another. It's just he has a gift for telling a story and keeping the story going. And he, again, like you said, he just doesn't have a filter. And 99% of the time, that is a awesome thing for the podcast, because it comes up like there's a lot of really funny moments in our podcast where we're doing something serious or we're doing something, whatever. And then he has a one-liner and it just makes everyone laugh. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
His one-liners are the best.
Yes,
He's got
absolutely.
They're gold.
Yeah. When I'm trying to tell a story about the whole experience and I'm being as serious as possible, it irked me a little bit. But I mean, it's, I'm sure you guys know, doing a podcast, it's like being in a relationship a little bit. Like you learn an ebb and a flow, and sometimes somebody says something different and it doesn't really meld well with you. And you gotta, I mean, it's just kind of, I have no ill will for Ben, or I have in the moment, even when I said, yeah, shut the hell up, Ben, come on now. Like that was just like it's just like you would tell your brother or your sister, shut the hell up while you're doing whatever that you're trying to be serious. It's nobody's pissed off.
We've had a lot of those moments on this podcast before. Jason, it turns out, does not like the show South Park. And anytime you bring up the show South Park, he gets really upset. Luckily for me, it's my show now, and I can talk about it all I want.
But I am the captain now.
I even thought about going back in and changing Donnie Dulovich's episode to South Park is the best, because Jason named it South Park is stupid.
Yeah.
But we miss him. He said he's very happy with the direction the show's going. But back to WFI, you guys are crushing it. And there was something that I had brought up to you and Brian House that I had not mentioned to Noah yet. And I figured I'd bring it up on the air.
What's that?
Oh, geez.
The WFI Project's hashtag has way more submissions than you guys could ever possibly announce on the air.
Yes.
And I was thinking, if Noah was okay with it, because this is a team here, that we would do our own version of that called the H&G Showcase. So it'd be hashtag H and, like the and symbol, not
ampersand.
And word. Yeah, ampersand. Thank you. So it would be hashtag H and G Showcase. And anybody who's hashtagging WFI can also add that hashtag, and we will try and pick up some of the load from the WFI projects, because that's a great feature of your show. It's my personal opinion that people worry too much about not doing what other shows are doing, even if it's working. Um, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Yep, I agree.
If something's working, why not do it? How do you feel about that, Noah? I don't have a cricket button.
Let's do it.
Woo!
There it is. There it is.
Let's do
man.
it.
Honestly, even if it means, for the first couple episodes where the H&G showcase is still kind of growing, if you want to dip into hashtag WFI projects, by all means do it. I mean, there's, like you said, there's about 100 submissions and we are able to pick out like 3 or 6. And it's just like, there's only so much we can do. So if you guys want to dip into that, by all means. I mean, of course I didn't talk to the boys, but they'd be totally fine with it. If you want to jump on hashtag WFI projects and then as H&G, and like now I get to post on H&G's showcase because I never use my own, because who wants to be the asshole who brings up his own thing on that?
There you go. So
now I get to participate.
You just show yourself off. You just hashtag WFI project. You're like, this week on WFI projects, it's me.
I know,
what
right?
You know? Yeah,
I know.
I think it'll work really well. Yeah, and then because a lot of makers, they look forward to that shout out, especially the little guys with like 100, 200 followers. And there's so many guys out there who are just getting started, who have 100, 200 followers, who are putting out really high level work. And they don't even know it's high level because most of us are alone in our shops. And we, other than Instagram, and if you don't have a big Instagram presence, we don't get to see other people's work that often.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that is something that should be expanded upon and utilized more to help the little guys.
What I love is when you shout out a really small account. And then I think the biggest one, I forget who it was, but they had like 56 subscribers, or maybe it was even down to like 20 some subscribers. You shout them out and then they just jump all the way up to like 2K or 4K or whatever. Oh, like in just a few days, you see those little itty bitty guys who are putting out crazy good work. And don't let me say itty bitty guys, because I am still an itty bitty guy. Like I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But like, I love seeing those guys just absolutely skyrocket just because, hey, we shouted them out. They're doing great work. Go check them out. Stop what you're doing. Go check out whoever it is.
Yeah.
And now
see
we're
their
back
stuff.
to Brian being incredibly selfless.
Come on now. I'm a leave if you keep this shit up. I hate talking about myself. It's just I don't know what it is.
Well, you're our guest. We have to talk about you.
Okay.
But no, I completely agree, and I love the way that you have that focus whenever you're doing the hashtag on your podcast, and you specifically go and try and find those small makers, because you're right. There are a lot of makers who have not a great following, but I mean nowadays there's so much information available. There's so many great YouTubers and classes people can take to where their first knives when they're just starting out look incredible, and they need to have more eyes on them so that they can be encouraged and so they can keep going with it. You don't want somebody to think, nobody's looking at this, and then get burnt out and then quit on something that could be, something that's life-changing for them, and really, turn into a really good passion that is going to take them somewhere. So I fully agree with that, and I love that mentality of trying to encourage people and get them followers, get them eyes on their work, because I mean a lot of people that are out there making knives in their shop, it's it's just them, and I think we all have this sort of introverted exhibitionism sort of that we have, where it's like, I don't necessarily want to talk to people face to face, but I want to show something that I'm proud of. I want to show something that I've done, and either get praise for it or even just validation, and that validation goes a long way.
It helps build confidence, and that confidence can grow into motivation or discipline.
Exactly.
to keep doing the craft. Instagram is very hard. It is hard to build a following without the help of others on Instagram. To
like
just
Joe
like,
Rogan?
Oh man, yeah, I was gonna be the person who makes that switch. Oh, you beat me to it. Oh,
oh, come on, man. I mean, that
dude,
did
Ryan
help.
Coakley with the freaking Joe Rogan shout out. I was cooking up the idea of, speaking of bringing up a little guy, and speaking of, people getting shout outs, freaking
So
Ryan Coakley getting a shout out from the one and only Joe Rogan.
Saint Rogies said my name.
Saint Rogies.
Saint Rogies. That's a Shane Gillis reference. But yeah, that was crazy. And awesome and humbling. He doesn't know it, but he saved my ass. Like I like, work's been very weird this summer. I did that big job switch and it turned out to be a huge fucking mistake. And nothing risked, nothing gained, shit happens. But I've really been leaning into my knife making to keep me afloat. And I was 3 days away from missing my mortgage. All my credit cards are due. We're coming into winter. And just by that happening, I was able to cover all my bills, fill my oil tank, and just relax a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm by no means a famous maker now, but that landed me enough followers and enough orders where I can actually see momentum growing.
So for people that don't know what we're referring to, for people that don't know what happened when Saint Rogi said your name, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So I had a deadline to meet on 4 identical EDCs, and I had to have them done because I had agreed that I was going to meet up with the guy the next day. So I was up until 4 a.m. finishing these knives, doing the sheaths, sharpening, all that shit. It was like 3:30 in the morning. I'm in my slippers. I'm sharpening the last one, and I get it shaving sharp, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just take a quick 10-second reel of me shaving my Joe Rogan tattoo on my leg. I didn't even think anything of it. I picked the first audio that I could find on Instagram when you punch in his name when you're looking for audio for your reels. I attached that audio. I put no thought into it. And I posted it. I finished up the knives. I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and my phone was going crazy.
Oh.
And I didn't even tag him in it. It turns out that Mike Jones Knife and Tool, who didn't want me to announce that he was the one who said it, but I'm going to do it anyways because it's because of him that all this happened to me, is an angel. The dude's the fucking man. He didn't have to show it to Rogan. He could have just kept scrolling. And because he showed it to him and Rogan decided to share it on his page, not as a story, but it's on his page permanently, currently sitting at 4.7 million views.
Wow.
And I don't know how it's going to play out in the long run, but in the short term, it completely changed the trajectory of my making. It's got me almost in this point where I think that if my momentum picks up even just a little bit more, I could do this full time.
Wow.
That's
huge.
Momentous.
It's unbelievable. Funny story. Make sure there's no kids in the room. Later that night, my wife was giving me some celebratory nookie. And right as I pulled my willy out, I go, "What's it feel like to bang a famous guy?" And she go, and as I said it in that moment, I go, her answer could either like really make my day or destroy my day. Luckily for me, she goes, "I don't know yet."
Oh, goodness.
Very non-committal. Very non-committal.
That's yeah.
Cool. Oh, boy.
It's just weird, man, because it's always been my goal for him to want to buy one of my knives. Like that, in the beginning, I set a metric that if I were to achieve that goal, then I must have achieved success at this thing that I'm putting every bit of myself into.
Yeah.
And now I'm one step closer. He's said my name.
Yeah.
Which means if he sees my name again, he's going to recognize it. And the more that happens, I might achieve the goal.
Here's the
Closer to
thing
your
now.
life goal.
Here's the thing. So now every time your hair grows out on that tattoo, finish up a really beautiful knife. And instead of just like kind of quickly flashing the knife and then shaving, like really show that thing off and then shave. Like show off every little bit. I've been noticing, I've
Like
been
this one.
seeing you're showing off this really beautiful, it looks like a Bowie knife that you've just finished up. What's going on with that thing?
It is. This is for Hans Molenkamp,
That's
who
the Bowie.
is
Oh,
Hans Molenkamp is the director or the head of Monster Energy's MMA division. So
whoa.
anytime you ever see a fighter who is sponsored by Monster and they hold the Monster can in the ring after they knock somebody out, Hans is the guy who chooses who's sponsored.
Wow. There you
And
go.
this is the first Bowie I've ever done. The guard is wrought iron. And then I've got canvas micarta, a white spacer, and then black walnut for the handle with a red
Beautiful.
pin.
Beautiful.
It's not glued together yet. But
Oh, okay.
it's all fitted. The blade's ready, and I got to etch the guard to release the grain. But yeah, enough about me.
No, dude, I
I'm
mean, that Bowie looks like professional class. Like it looks phenomenal.
I'm very
I'm
proud of this knife. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to send it. You know what I mean? Have you ever made a
That's
knife
when
where you're
you
like, holy shit, I made it?
Yeah, no, yeah, I've been in that position a couple times, and it's just like, but then you have to think like they bought the thing because they're as passionate about it as you are. And like this guy's influential in his realm of monster and, MMA, and like you're only opening doors impressing that guy.
Yeah. I have a lot of blue checks in my DMs, and it's
Whoa,
weird.
look at
Whoa.
you, buddy.
It's
Now the
weird.
question is, did they pay $8 a month for that blue check, or are they just kind of
No, it's all these UFC fighters and stuff that, like, Jessica Rose Clark was on the podcast, and like I just harass them till they accept a knife from me.
Yeah. So
But in
here's the
doing,
twist. Go to those people and be like, hey, if you have a connection with Joe Rogan, if you get Joe Rogan to buy a knife from me, your knife is free.
I've given every single one of them away. This one's free.
Bro, come on now.
Yeah.
They're not going to come back then. They don't
It's called
like,
self-promotion, Brian. Come on.
I guess I do that all the time, especially with the carbon fiber I've been working with. I've been sending it out left, right, and center. And you guys will be getting a pound of black pearl for sure.
Thanks,
Oh,
man.
So,
sweet. I was going to tell you
It's
yeah.
not
actually.
just
I've been using that black pearl. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm trying to come up with a new EDC knife, just to try and I don't want to go there. Anyways, I'm coming up with a new EDC, and so what I'm just going to do is have some very simple black scales that go on the side of it, and they're
Mhm.
just going to be bolted on with some bolts, so that it's
Okay.
quick, easy to take on and off, and that inch wide G10 might work really great. But I got some of that black pearl from you already, and I did like a test run, and I kind of fitted it up and everything, and it looks fantastic. Not to mention, like what you were saying on the podcast the other day about how easy that stuff is to work with.
Yeah.
That G10 is incredibly easy to work with. Like, I prefer using like stabilized woods over, something like G10 or micarta, because micarta gets some deep scratches in it that you just kind of have to work at to try and get out and get polished and everything. This G10 is so incredibly, I don't want to call it soft
Can
because
I
it's not.
can I interrupt
It's
you for a
hard.
second?
Do
Can
it,
I
man.
interrupt you for a second? It's not G10, it's actually a carbon fiber. It's a
Was I saying
monodirectional.
G10?
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
a monodirectional carbon fiber that basically it's the same. It is the exact material. You know all of those giant windmill turbines that they've been
Yeah.
putting up all over the place? The carbon fiber company that I hooked up with are the guys that make the carbon fiber for those windmills. It's also used for other things, but the windmills are completely like the structure inside of it is this specific carbon fiber. It's monodirectional. And yeah, it's completely unique. Nobody else has access to this stuff. So
I'm so
I don't
sorry.
know.
My brain is terrible. I was in my
It's all
head.
right.
I was saying carbon fiber.
No,
So
it's good.
that's my bad. So, anyways, yeah, the Black Pearl, the monodirectional carbon fiber, it's so incredibly easy to work with because it'll get those deep scratches if you're shaping it with like a 36 grit belt, and you can just clean those scratches out of there so quickly. It's really incredible stuff to work with. So I really do love it. So
Yeah, I've done a little bit of destructive testing with it. I took a piece of it and I made a shape out of it and I basically like polished it all up. Because my thought was, okay, if it's this easy to grind away and it's this easy to like, put scratches in and then take those scratches out, I was worried that if you like drop it on something or you scuff it on, like I was worried that it was going to be really easy to damage. But I took a hammer to it and I like really tried to like put things in. And of course it did a little bit of damage, but not unlike anything else. I just it's bizarre. It's really like it's every single time I send it off to somebody and say, give me what you think about it, like give me some feedback on this stuff. Everyone says it's a dream to work with. It grinds like butter and it polishes with almost little effort into it. And the same thing with the carbon fiber. I don't know what it is about it. Even my the marbled X Forge carbon fiber, that stuff grinds easy. Like I did a side by side with other carbon fiber I've had in my shop, and like it just grinds quicker. It grinds easier and it polishes up easier. I don't understand it. I really don't.
I,
It's just
I think
bizarre.
it's the quality of the stuff that you're working with because you're getting this from an industrial supplier of carbon fiber that's made for industrial use. I mean, windmills are no cheap product. I mean, so I think the quality of the stuff that you're selling is just above what other people have to offer for something like knife scales. So
And the along those lines, the X Forge, the marbled carbon fiber, the shredded carbon fiber, whatever you want to call it, that stuff is made for sub. There's two different things that they do mostly with it. It's either subframes. So in super light cars, like endurance cars or like race cars and stuff, where like the chassis of it is made of a lighter what's it basically the chassis are made less structural on the outside so that it could be lighter, but then the centers of it is filled with this carbon fiber, so it's ultra structural. It takes impacts. It's really strong. And then it's the other use for it is the like gears inside of really high end machining. So like
oh
it's
wow.
it's used in industrial, like basically it's built to be really robust and really shock absorbent. And I guess it's just crazy that then you turn around, you go to grind it. I figured, hearing all of that, well, I'm going to spend a year trying to grind this into a handle because if it's that strong, it's going to grind away like concrete or something. And then I went to grind it and I ended up grinding a knife handle way too thin because I just like leaned into it expecting it to be difficult, and it ground away like
Oh,
butter. It's crazy. I don't know what it was. It's really bizarre stuff.
that's
But
I
really
can't
great.
wait
It's really
to
great stuff.
I can't wait to get my hands on some of that copper stuff. I think that's going to look really good as spacer material in my hidden tank
Oh,
chef knives.
absolutely. Yeah. That'll look
sure.
killer. Hey,
Um,
do we need to hear from? We haven't heard from Chet in a while. Is there anything that we can do with that?
yeah, we got some ads we got to play. Chet has actually been demoted, and he is only doing the Beck's Armory ad now.
Okay.
And Crafty Man Forge apparently is a voiceover actor,
Yo.
and so we have hired him to do the Phoenix Abrasives and Maritime Knife Supply ad. So we're having really good conversation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play all three right in a row.
Okay.
All
That's fine.
three?
Do you want?
Oh
Is
my
that
goodness,
is
that's
that okay
amazing.
with you?
Let's do it.
I'm just
And
messing
then
with you.
Chat,
and
what do you
then
have to say?
right from there we'll roll into Florida Manor Frog. So
All right,
Okay.
man.
All right.
let's hear
I'm
from
looking
Chet,
forward to that one.
and then Luke, and then Luke.
Hustle and Grind is sponsored by BecksArmory.com, professional grade products for the DIY world. Beck's Armory produces grinders and other equipment for everyone from hobby knife makers to professionals. Using finite element analysis, each tool is engineered to be the most durable, efficient, and quality product at a fraction of the cost from other companies. Go check out the BA Shredder 2x72 grinder and more at BecksArmory.com and use code HUSTLE10 at checkout for an extra $10 off your order.
Thanks, Chet.
Thanks, Chet.
Hustle and Grind is sponsored by PhoenixAbrasives.com, your one-stop abrasive shop. They stock all the abrasive belts you need in all sizes. They also offer knife-making kits, which have all the goods you need in one kit, as well as hand sanding and buffing materials. Go to PhoenixAbrasives.com and use the code HUSTLE10 for 10% off your order.
Thanks, Luke.
Nice job,
Hustle
Luke.
and Grind is sponsored by Maritime Knife Supply. Whether you're looking for steel, abrasives, handle material, forges, epoxy, or anything for making in general, Maritime Knife Supply has you covered. And in the US or Canada, they ship faster than the great Cobra chicken goosesses that their country is known for. Go to Maritime Knife Supply, and when you buy a 10-pack of belts, get 10% off. And tell them we sent you, eh?
Nice,
He
Luke.
crushed it.
Good job, man.
Yeah,
he
man.
crushed it.
I
he
love
sent me
those.
those today. Yeah, they sound really good. If any
Sorry,
other
Chet, but
podcast,
you suck too bad.
Yeah.
Well. So
it's
to kind of finish up the carbon fiber talk, I have a little bit of announcement. I'm super excited.
Is this an exclusive Hustle and Grind announcement?
I mean, I'm announcing it here first, I guess.
Sweet.
So, if you guys have listened to the Work For It podcast, I talked a little bit about the fact that I was getting 1-inch strips.
What's that? The what?
What did I say?
Podcast?
What did I say?
I don't know. You said a podcast I wasn't familiar with. You asked if I listened to it, but I wasn't sure.
The Work For It podcast?
Oh, okay. I'll have to give that one a listen. All right.
Oh, okay, yeah, go check that one out for sure. But anyway, so I got my hands on 1-inch stripping that were cutoffs from this carbon fiber company of the Black Pearl. So basically, I got a boatload of this it's already cut down to 1-inch strip, and they're like 16 and a half inch long. It's kind of varying between, somewhere between a long 15-inch to a short 17-inch strips. So basically what I did is I have spent all day today, and I will spend all day tomorrow, and probably quite a few days in the future, where I'm ripping these things down into handle scale size. But I don't want to sell them as individual handle scales. I feel like, if you're getting such small quantities, it's almost not even worth shipping off, because you're going to spend so much more in shipping if you just buy one. So I am selling them by the pound. And basically that gets you about, it gets you a full pound, gets you 16 pieces of this carbon fiber, roughly right around 16. Some of them will be bigger if they're smaller pieces, vice versa, whatever. So it gets you right about if you're making like neck knives, you're going to get, 16 knives out of them. And if you're doing larger knives, like if it's inch wide, like EDC, let's say you have a 4 to 4.5 inch blade, I mean, you're going to get at least 8 knives and then a couple like bolster areas. Or, if you're like Matt Gentry and you do the crazy, multi-scales, you can get those little centerpieces. You'll have a full scale and then a little, floater or bolster area, whatever. So that the pound of material that I'm going to be selling them as, I've been kind of workshopping around to try to talk to people. Roughly, what do you think that stuff will be worth? And let me go ahead and ask you guys, if you're getting a carbon fiber, especially the fact that it's, monodirectional, you literally can't get it anywhere else. It's 3/16 thick, so not quite a 1/4 inch, just a hair under a 1/4 inch. It's carbon fiber. What do you think a pound of that material would be worth?
I would say at least $60, because
Okay.
you're looking at, you buy a set of scales of carbon fiber scales and you're paying 12 plus shipping.
Right.
So I'd say $60 is a good deal for everybody.
Thank you, Coakley Dokley. What do you think, Noah?
I don't know. This one's tough because you're looking at a very narrow market, because you've got a narrow strip of carbon fiber. So only guys that are making smaller knives that are like the EDC, like you're saying. I mean, most of my full size knives are going to need, 1 3/4 to 2-inch wide scales.
I agree.
So it's going to be very specific of the people that are going to buy that. So it's kind of tough. I would probably say, not to not to discount it, but I would say probably somewhere more in like the $50 range would probably be accurate because of the limits that you're putting on it by it only being an inch wide.
That it rings really true. And like, we didn't talk about this before. I wasn't like, hey guys, you should say this much, yada yada. There's none of that bullshit happening.
Yeah, I felt like I was on the spot there, so I'm a little offended. Just so you know.
Sorry about that. So I've been your guys's, your advice there rings true with all of the people that I've talked to. I've had people say as low as like $40 per pound. I've had some people go all the way up to $80 a pound, or oh my gosh, that stuff is so cool, it grinds so nice, $100 a pound. Here's the deal. I'm starting it off. I'm going to sell the first 100 pounds of this material, and this is an introductory price. The whole idea of this introductory price is I want to get it out into the hands of as many people as possible. Give this stuff a shot, basically make it a little bit cheaper so you guys can get your hands on it if you weren't going to otherwise. Per pound, $35 plus shipping. $35. That price will not last because, it's just the way it is. I mean, this material, it's, I did a run of scales that were 2-inch by 6-inch. You get a set of scales, and I sold them at $10 up plus shipping. So a pound of the material is like 4 sets of those 2-inch by 6-inch. So you're getting that much. So it's $40 of material at that crazy reduced price. So I'm even lowering it from that crazy reduced price. And then if you buy it as the full sheets, the way that it will be sold more readily, because this 1-inch stripping is kind of a one-off type thing. It's about $60 if you buy it in the full sheets worth of material. So this is very much an introductory price, trying to keep it low so everybody can try it out. And I want to move this material out into the world. I'm going to be, doing giveaways. I'm going to be doing, another thing is I want to start, I want to go to all of the podcasts and be like, hey, here's 5 pounds. Do some sort of a giveaway, a competition, do something, and let these 5 pounds be the, reward of whatever you want to do. So
here's the big question. Is that going to be available? So this is coming out on Tuesday. Is that going to be available on your website on Tuesday?
So no, I am cutting it right now.
Okay, all right.
I am in the process of ripping it down so that it's sellable. So it's not going to be probably ready for another week or so. I'm really busting my butt. I had to learn about, I'm going to be shipping these things out in the small It Fits, It Ships USPS boxes. Nice, and I had to learn that you have to go onto the website and order a bunch of boxes, because if you just show up and say, hey, I need 200 small boxes, they can't do that. That's not a thing that you can just walk in and do.
No.
So I have stuff. I have the boxes ordered. Hopefully it'll be here by the weekend so that Emily and I can stuff boxes all weekend. And it's going to go live probably sometime next week, and I'll start off with a bang for sure. But I'm very excited. All right, guys.
So go follow Kohn Knives on Instagram, and he'll have announcements on when this stuff is going to come out. And after the show, we'll have to talk to Kohn about maybe doing some sort of a giveaway for our listeners, because that would be fantastic. And we definitely want to get the stuff in your hands so you can understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, guys. It's cheap. It's going to be right now. It's the cheapest it will ever be. So get on it while it's hot, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what else to say.
And I mean, you're not going to find, like we were just saying, this is different than any other carbon fiber that's out there for knife scales. This is, I hate to hesitate, it's windmill quality carbon fiber or supercar frame quality carbon fiber that you're not going to find somewhere else, and you're getting it for a much better price than you're going to find that other stuff that's going to be much more expensive. So I think that's huge, man.
Yeah.
I had an idea, speaking of podcasts intermingling, and I almost feel like we should exclude one podcast from this, but let me pitch the idea. And then once I pitch the idea, you'll understand why. I was thinking, you guys are doing these YouTube build-offs.
Yes.
Like YouTube builder competitions. What if we did a podcaster build-off competition?
We gotta leave out knife talk so that Morocco doesn't absolutely wreck our shit.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, goodness.
Like, I thought of this and then I was like, but fucking Knife Talk, I mean, Mareko would just crush everybody. It'd be like, we'd have to leave out him and Dennis Tyrell. Well, Dennis Tyrell's not on a podcast, so he doesn't have to
Mareko
crush it.
Momasi could take a shit on a sidewalk, and it'll be better than anything that we could ever make.
His poop could cut through my knives. He's a huge inspiration to me. I absolutely love that guy. He's one of his episode of the Joe Rogan Experience was the one that showed me that it's possible for us to make it doing this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was dabbling in it, and then when he was on Rogan, I was like, holy fuck, there's a knife maker on Rogan.
Right.
And everything changed. That was when I started like, oh, I could actually do this. But I think that would be good. I think that would be fun. Maybe Ford Side Chat, us, work for it.
It might be difficult to get
Fire and Steel.
Well, here's the question.
Yeah, Fire and Steel.
Here's the question. How do you do it? Because, Ben Butler doesn't make knives, or, there are people out there that don't necessarily make knives. They're just makers who are a part of knife-esque podcasts.
We could do, whereas like a couple of the co-hosts don't make knives, like Ben could be a guest judge.
Okay.
And then we have viewership judging. Whereas, so if like, let's say we get a tie in the viewership, the podcast hosts who are the judges can break that tie.
See, I like that idea. Or we could do it like the challenge video that Dennis Tyrell has been running, where 50% comes from the judges, 50% comes from the popularity vote.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we could all be judges. And we're not allowed to vote. We're not allowed to vote for ourselves.
Right. Brian House won the popularity vote, and then I came in with the Electoral College and somehow squeaked by with a win.
That was an awesome conclusion to all the shit talking that went on. That was a good episode. I like that with Dennis. That was good.
Yeah,
it was fun for sure.
Dennis sounded like he was sick. He sounded like he had a cold in that episode. And if that's the case, I hope you feel better.
Absolutely. So, listen, we got another segment we got to get to. We've been recording for almost an hour here.
Does that mean a dad joke? I can do a dad joke.
Whoa, no! This is
Bring out
not
a dad
your
joke.
podcast. No.
It's so awesome to actually see it, because like when I was on Work For It, you guys can't see each other when you record, but we can. It's so much better. And also, just to let you guys know, this is hopefully going to be the first podcast where we release the video. So,
yo, nice.
I'm on my new fangled laptop that I got.
How dare you? You didn't even give me warning. I didn't do my makeup.
Oh, me either.
But we've actually got 2 more segments to do. So we got to do Florida Man or Fraud, and then we got to do the Patreon Spotlight.
That's right.
Let's do it.
So let's do Florida Man or Forge. Or Fraud? Wow. I can talk, I promise.
Damn, Noah. You've been hitting the bottle today. Alrighty.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready to play. Is it Florida Man or Fraud?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the segment of the show where we read off a ridiculous headline that could be either from the true Florida man in Florida or somewhere else in the country. And our guest, Brian Kohn, and our co-host, Ryan Coakley, get to guess. And you, the listener, get to guess at home and trying to figure out if you really know Florida man or not. This first one is brought to us by Neil Maximus. And he sent in this glorious Florida man story. The question is it really Florida man? The headline reads, Woman bites camel's testicles in bizarre truck stop showdown.
Yo.
What? Say that again.
Okay, all right. I got to read this one again. The headline reads, Woman bites camel's testicles in bizarre truck stop showdown.
I feel
All right, so here we go. So when I'm reading the story, like, I'm obviously, you guys know that I can't speak properly, so I've actually blanked out the words that would denote location. So when I say
okay.
the word blank, I'm just meaning blank as in, blank location. So a truck stop turned into a real zoo when a woman chomped down on a camel's testicles while trying to retrieve her dog that had scrambled into the dromedary's den, according to a new report. The showdown between the woman who wasn't identified and Casper the camel, a roadside attraction, happened Thursday at a truck stop in Blank, about 20 minutes outside of Blank. The woman's husband was tossing treats to their dog under Casper's fence, prompting the pup to crawl inside the enclosure, the sheriff's office told the Advocate Sunday. The couple followed after the dog, but the woman didn't get very far before Casper took a seat on top of her, crushing her. So she bit down on his genitals to free herself, she told police. She said, quote, "I bit his balls to get him off of me. I bit his testicles to get off of me." Deputy Lois Hamilton Jr. told the report.
Oh my God.
An investigation revealed that the couple had provoked Casper before he sat on the intruder. The camel did nothing wrong, Hamilton said. The couple was aggressive. The camel was just doing its normal routine. Male dromedaries can weigh up to 1,320 pounds, according to the San Diego Zoo. Employees at the truck stop did not face any charges because the camel was enclosed, and signs warning the public to stay out are posted every 10 feet, the deputy added. So, there at the end, I said, according to the San Diego Zoo, that has nothing to do with the location. That's just someone that they called to reference the story about how big the camel was.
I feel like you're backpedaling. I feel like that was a tell. See,
Was it?
hold on. Because on the entire way through, I was thinking this camels don't really do well in humid environments. They're more of a, desert type thing. But then again, there's roaming zoos and there's, petting zoos all over the place. So I'm sure you could even find camels, wherever. So this could be anywhere.
Dude, one time, my buddy and I were hunting up north of here, northeast of here, and we're driving along looking for deer, and I look over on the side of the road, and I see a camel. I'm not joking. I thought
Get out of here.
No, dude. I'm north central Washington. We're driving around looking for deer, and I look over, and I see a freaking camel. Wow. No joke. And then I found out later on, apparently there's a farm up there that has camels.
Oh,
but can you imagine the thought that went through my head when I saw a camel when I was out deer hunting? I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah. See,
but anyways,
here in Michigan,
my point is that they are everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna say fraud on this. I don't think that this is inside of Florida because I feel like the humidity would be too much for a camel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with fraud. I agree. I feel like this is more of a Utah, Nevada area type incident.
I'm going to say somewhere around San Diego.
Well, you guys are right, but you're wrong. Okay, so this was definitely a fraud.
Okay.
But it's from Louisiana.
All right, wow. So not that far off.
So I don't know much about Louisiana, but I know it's humid there too. So I don't know why there was a camel at a truck stop sideshow, but apparently there was.
Huh. Interesting.
So you both got that one. You both got that one correct for the wrong reasons. All right, here we go. This next one, I don't even know. Here we go. The headline reads: Man jumps into Bass Pro Shop fish tank. A man climbed the side of a Bass Pro Shop's fish tank in blank, then jumped in before quickly running away. In a video, the man is seen climbing on an artificial rock formation before performing a cannonball into a large fish tank at a store in Blank Mall. The soaking wet man then jumps out and runs from the store before the video ends. Quote, "We are deeply concerned about attempts to promote and sensationalize incidents of this nature. The viewer who created this video was clearly an accomplice with an understanding it was going to happen."
So you talked about on the last podcast about how you're going to try to put in a red herring where you're going to pick out something from the location from around where the guest is from. And I distinctly remember this happening in a giant mall with a Bass Pro Shop attached down by Detroit. So I am going
Really?
fraud on this one.
Wow. Okay. You even know the story. See, that's cheating. You can't know things about the story.
See, I had heard that story too, and I remember it being somewhere northern or in the Northeast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Michigan.
So I'm calling fraud.
Both wrong.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's as Florida as it gets, man. Jumping into a fish tank and Bass Pro Shops.
That is pretty
man.
Florida.
Yeah, that
man.
was absolutely Florida. But I think it's insane that there was a copycat in Detroit. That is, I'm shocked.
This very well could be a false memory that I have, but I distinctly remember hearing about it happening from like a person, like somebody that I know is like, man, I was down near Detroit and it happened and I was just in there, I just missed it.
That's funny. All right, well, cool.
Those Bass Pro Shop fish tanks are impressive.
Yeah, they are.
They must have a team of people on staff taking care of those things. They are humongous.
Oh, they have to be. I mean, you're talking about basically, you go into an aquarium, and obviously there's a lot more fish in an aquarium, but like, it's a small one at the very least. I mean, if you take if you go into an aquarium, you've got the different tanks and everything. It's one or two of those, just in a store. So, and I mean, there's some big fish in there too. So it's pretty awesome. They put a lot into that.
Yeah,
so
man.
Before we wrap this up, let's roll into the Patreon spotlight. We got a new one this week. Forged in Fire royalty. So we'll start right off with Donnie Dulovich, who won 3rd place in my raffle.
Nice.
Knifematerial.at, awesome. Aru Bladeworks, Brigham Kendall, Mark LeBlanc, Mark Vanderworth, BexArmory.com, Todd Harrington, Dennis Tyrell, Trucks Claire Custom Cutlery, Maritime Knife Supply, Driver Defense Knives, Noah Bloomberg, Crafty Man Forge, thanks for the voiceovers, Tortuga Blade Works, Jared at Echo Blades, Sourwood Creations, Bremner Built Knives, Snake Branch Knife Works, Stormlight Forge, Timber Tiger Forge, Ed Soul, Paternostri Fabrica, and Ira Housework.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Is our new one.
Ira's a great guy. I love the interview with Ira. I mean, I've loved all of the interviews I've ever done, but like, oh my goodness, that was a fun one.
He's on our schedule. I don't know. I can actually check the date right now because it's on my phone. But that's
going to be awesome. He seems like a
podcast.
really cool dude. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
he is Christmas Day.
Yo, nice Christmas with Ira.
Yeah, so I told him, the schedule, depending on how all three of ours coordinates, because my kids are grown, so I'm available. But it's, so we might record the day before, day after. Who knows? We'll see.
Sure. So
we'll have to figure that out. But my question is why didn't we have Sharp Santa for that day?
There's a good question there. There's a good question.
All right, man. So who's the spotlight on?
Oh yeah. Boy. Sorry, everybody. All right. Magic Finger Touch. Tortuga Blade Works. Brian
Tortuga.
Hennington.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, that's easy for me to talk about because he is honestly one of my favorite bladesmiths that I follow. That guy. There are certain people who I can look at and I can just appreciate the work that they put into something and be like, wow, that's really clean. Or, that clearly took a lot of time. And then there are people who I look at their work and their style just appeals to me. And we talked about that a little bit last week with Jason Knight and how much I love his style and how that drew me to learn from him and everything. and it is no different with Brian Hindenkamp. This guy has this style that I just love, the way that he does his builds.
And just like as a man, like I have this thing where I'm drawn to other hardworking men, and
Yeah.
the dude is the director of an emergency room.
Yeah.
Like he has a full-time gig in a hospital, and he, in his what little spare time he has, he's putting out these high end quality, heirloom quality knife pieces that are just, they're unbelievable. I mean, I look at his work and I'm like I'm a peasant. You know what I mean? Like you look
For
at
sure.
somebody's work and you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, you look at his work and you think, oh my God, I have a long way to go for sure. Man,
Yeah.
Brian Hiddenkamp, Tortuga Blade Works, even though he spells his first name wrong, he still has really fantastic style, right down to his merch. That freaking Tortuga Blade Works shirt, I am on his list of people to buy one of those shirts as soon as the color one comes out. Because don't get me wrong, I love the black and white look, but just those crazy colors going into it, the scene of like this, I mean, it's so cool. Go, if you can't buy one of his knives, you gotta go get one of these shirts, because you're never gonna see another knife maker with that level of style.
And the price is so awesome.
Yeah.
The shirts are $20, $4.99 for shipping.
Right.
I mean,
That's crazy.
like I love buying other makers' merch to support them, but sometimes guys are out there selling T-shirts for $45,
Right.
and I just can't justify $45 for a T-shirt. I'm like, holy fuck, that's hoodie prices. You know what I mean?
Well, and a lot of times it's you're buying stuff in small batches, and that cost is just what you have to pay for T-shirts. So, but that's an incredible price he's selling these at. And if you don't know what we're talking about Tortuga Blade Works on Instagram. Go follow him and look at these shirts that he's got. It's basically like a Davy Jones skull-esque type of headshot with the pirate hat, and he's got a couple of his style blades that are on there as well, and it just looks cool as all get out. So go follow the man, pick up a shirt. He has some incredible blades. He does a lot of stainless sanmai, which I love. But the one thing that he does that I do not do is he leaves forge scale on close up to the spine of his blades. That just gives it a whole other look that is unlike other people's work, and it looks incredible.
It really does.
This quick video that he posted of a karambit that he did, and it looks like it's a stainless sanmai. I can't tell for sure, but most people know what a karambit looks like. This one looks evil. He's got like a couple of little steps that he put in the actual blade after the handle, and the curve on it is wicked looking. I have no idea what the handle material is, but it's awesome too. So go check out Tortuga Blade Works. Check out this insane looking karambit that I'm looking at. Check out his t-shirts and give the man a follow, and maybe buy a t-shirt if you decide you need one. And definitely support our man who supports us. So
don't decide if you need one. You need one. Go get one.
You need one.
And also, do you know what else you guys need? A pound of black pearl. Come on, guys. Let's get this stuff moving. Let's go.
Do it. Go support
I want to see it
our
in
boy.
So many people out there. I want to see all of you guys get your hands on some black pearl. I want to see what it looks like with your style on it.
Absolutely. So,
guys,
do you guys have time for one more thing to talk about before we go?
1000%. I'll be here until 2 a.m. if you want to do this Joe Rogan style. Let's go.
Oh my goodness, I can't handle it. All right, so big news and excitement for me this week is I finally got myself a heat treat oven.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit we talked about this a little bit on one of our first tries at this podcast today, but I'll go ahead and say it again. So I did a lot of, I asked around and kind of, got people's opinions on, what, most people are even heat or Paragon, yada, yada, yada. I got a lot of really great feedback. I got a ton of feedback from Lawrence from Maritime Knife Supply. And the dude was just throwing crazy information at me that, I wouldn't have known to ask the questions that he was answering to me. And it just and when I kind of got down to it and I kind of made up my mind, I was asking him about, the stuff on his website. And he's like, oh no, I can't ship kilns to the US. And I'm like, wait, you just spent all this time talking to me and giving me all this information without even the hope of a sale? Like, that's crazy to me, you know? So, and
Right.
that just shows you what kind of a guy Lawrence is, and his willingness to help out the community and just be that wealth of information that he is. And so I really appreciated that. And in the end, I found, most people were telling me, find the one that you want and then go a size bigger, you know, and get the solid state relay, get this, get that, buy once, cry once. And to those people, I have to say, have you ever considered buy twice, cry twice? Because honestly, you're sort of just, you're underestimating my ability for self defeating tendencies. So I went and I bought a smaller oven, but here's the thing. So I found this one. It's called the Knife Dogs kiln. It's made by Paragon. It's a bit smaller oven, but it comes with Paragon's top of the line controller. So I mean, it's Wi-Fi controlled. It's got all the bells and whistles, but it's got a smaller inside cavity. But the thing is that all the blades that I produce will fit inside this kiln. So I went ahead, I ordered it. It was insanely cost effective, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I ordered it, and normally it comes in their kind of signature orange, but unfortunately they were having trouble with that color, so it only came in black. No big deal to me. Black kind of goes with everything. So I went ahead and ordered it, and I got it just the other day, and it was not black. It was, and I'm not kidding, baby poop brown.
Ugh.
And if you go on my Instagram, you can see the reel that I posted of it. I was kind of torn because I was like, what the hell is this color? It's a kiln. It's going to do kiln things. Does it really matter what color it is? But I just couldn't get over it. So one thing that I love to do is I love to send emails to companies. I have this ability to sound somewhat professional while still being a sarcastic asshole. And so I sent them this email, and it reads, "Hi there. I recently ordered a Knife Dogs heat treat oven from you guys, and I just received it today. While I have to say that I received it well ahead of when I expected, and I have been happy with every other aspect of my order, there is no escaping the fact that this oven is baby poop brown. When I
Yep.
ordered it, it said very explicitly that it was only available in black. No issue to me. I really like black. I would have been fine with the orange color that it used to come in, but unfortunately, it is not. I'm not sure how that happened since it was only available in black, or how even to fix the situation since I'd really hate to return it and wait for another one. Please tell me your thoughts. Thanks, Noah B. Order number blah blah blah. Photo of the offending oven." And I attached a photo of this baby poop brown oven. So
Yeah.
good on them. They called me back. So they didn't email me. They called me and basically said that they worked out this oven in conjunction with Paragon, who makes them. And so she actually had to call down to Paragon and find out that they decided that since they didn't have the old orange, they had this other color, and they would just spray at that color and send it out to their customers. Without even telling USA Knife Maker that they were doing it. So she offered me, she's like, "Hey, you can return it. We'll send you a new one. You're going to have to wait again." And I was like, I know how things get jacked up with shipping. It's no big deal. And she's like, "Well, if you want, you can just paint it yourself. Normal, like, high temp paint will work." And I'm like, "Okay,
Right.
all right, well, I'll do that." And so in the end, she gave me a gift card for, the difference of what it would cost them to do the return and everything. So in the end, I was really happy. I have a baby poop brown oven, but I'm going to paint it soon. So it's okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, throw on some spray paint. Maybe you can even, add, since you're already spray painting it, you might as well put your logo all over the damn thing.
I was thinking about that. I might just do that, just like throw on a resist or something, or like a vinyl or something, and then spray over it and then pull it off, But yeah,
Black
so
and baby poop orange.
Baby poop brown logo.
Yeah, there you go. Big ERF and baby poop brown on the side.
Oh.
But no, yeah. So I heat treated my first batch yesterday, and the biggest thing that I noticed was how straight the blades came out. I didn't have any warping, just laser straight. And I've had great success heat treating in a forge up to this point, but it was definitely time, and I'm really excited about it. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, man, for sure. For sure.
Now you can do stainless.
I know. You know what? That thought actually hadn't occurred to me until I was grinding a knife yesterday to heat treat. I was like, wait a second. I could do this in stainless if I wanted to. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, that's huge for sure.
The problem with stainless, though, is that then I'll get orders for stainless, and I want to forge things. So,
I mean, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off for sure. But I feel like doing stainless, you open yourself up to so many people that don't want to get high carbon steel because it's kind of finicky. Like, think about the everyday chef that was like, oh, a high carbon steel, I'm gonna make the thing rust, so there's no sense in buying such an expensive knife. Where you say, oh, well, then you've got stainless as an option. Boom, there you go. There's a sale that you would have missed otherwise.
I make more stainless knives than I do not stainless now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I don't want to do.
there's pros and cons because I'm not forging.
Right.
So for me, it's the heat treat process, in my opinion, is easier, even though there is an extra step. There's 2 extra steps, actually. Because you either have to paint the blades with the anti-scale paint, or you have to wrap them in the stainless steel tool wrap. And that stuff is like playing with bendy razor blades.
Right.
Yeah. But I will say, I was doing some research earlier today, and our boy Lawrence at Maritime Knife Supply seems to have like the absolute best price on that stainless heat treat foil. And he also has AEBL in stock, unlike a lot of other places who are out of it. So,
yeah, go check out Maritime Knife Supply. They're great. Lawrence Lake is a hell of a guy. I know you guys hear me say it all the time on the Work For It podcast, but shipping, I don't know if it's just the fact that I'm so close to where he's at. I get it like within just a couple days whenever I order something from him. But that's what people say all over the nation, where it's like, it's surprising that sometimes he'll get it to you before like a shop that is in America will get it to you. He's just got a way. I don't know what it is. He's like magic or something. And he's also a great guy where you say, oh, well, you don't have this, but I'm really looking for this type of a thing. Either he will figure it out for you and say, go find it over here, like he did with your heat treat oven. Or he will be like, oh, well, let me find that for you, and we can make a deal out of this. Boom, there it is. He's like your one-stop shop.
Well, yeah, I mean, he does carry everything. But the other thing that you were saying about the whole shipping thing, I base who I buy from a lot on shipping.
Yeah.
And I was buying abrasives from one company, and finally I just stopped because I couldn't wait the time that it would take them to get me the abrasives. And I'm not going to name them, but I love their product. They had good customer service, but their shipping was just unbelievable. I couldn't do it anymore. So when you're talking about shipping stuff from Canada to me in under a week, when other places take 2-3 weeks within the US, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And shipping for us is important because, like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, a lot of the times if I'm ordering something that's oddball, it's because somebody asked for it.
Yeah, right. So, for sure.
I need that material in, you know what I mean? So I can start that knife. Like I generally stick to the same steels, like AEBL for stainless, or I really like ADCRV2 for high carbon. But I've had lately, it seems I've had people ask for A2 Nitro V, CPMS 30V, and having fast shipping so I can get that steel in is crucial. Because if it takes, so let's say I order it, Lawrence gets it to me in 3 days, but I order it from some other Joe Schmo and it takes them 2 weeks to get it to me, I'm already 2 weeks behind on that knife.
Exactly. You know?
But
that time is very valuable.
Why don't you play us off, Kohn? You've got the playoff music.
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
Oh, jeez. Thank you for listening to the Hustle and Grind podcast.
We appreciate you so much. Goodbye. That was a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed every single moment of this podcast. I've been a big fan for a long time, and yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you all, and everybody out there. I hope you have a fantastic working week. I'm Brian Kohn.
I'm Noah.
Ryan. I'm Ryan.
And we hope that you work for it, baby.
We hope that
keep
you
on
hustle.
hustling. Keep on hustling and keep on grinding.
Yeah.
Woo! Yee yee.